Right. So hope we are very clear with our discussions we made before for the individual assignment. So all the learning outcomes, right? Evaluating the various data types, data storage systems, and association techniques for indexing and retrieving data, and designing feature engineering techniques to transform transactional data into meaningful insight in order to create a predictive model. So this is what we'll be doing for this part one. Right. So as discussed, please make sure that you start completing part two, right, first before moving to part one. Right. So please take that as an idea. Okay, because we are very clear that we are discussing more on the data set, right, in part two. I'll just once again just give a recap of what we discussed in part two, like initial data exploration, right? So because this particular research is focused on how we are going to do with the application domain related with data exploration. So this is similar to initial data analysis, whereby you're going to give and use visual exploration, right? Which means you're going to use mostly a graphical way of giving an understanding about the data set, right? This is mainly on the data set and the characteristic of the data, rather than the traditional data management systems like your SQL, all those things. So for now, I'm sure like you would have completed these things, right? Like indicating the type of each attribute, nominal, ordinal, interval, or ratio, and identifying the values of the summarizing properties for each attribute, including frequency and spread. Right. And here, once again, you can use your SAS code to provide the range, right? Frequency of the values, distributions, medians, means, variance, and percentiles. So wherever necessary, use proper visualization, right, for the corresponding statistics. Provide the summary and descriptive stats as such. And using SAS, explore your data set and identify the variables with any outliers. Okay, and also give the missing values and outlier treatment. So this is what we are trying to focus on your initial data exploration. And the data pre-processing, investigate the required methods to handle the incomplete, noisy, and inconsistent data, and report each of the applied techniques with a detailed explanation and show your results with justifying answers, right? Which is just trying to give your type of an justification. Okay, what type of approach you're using, because we know that we can use some approaches, right? Not just one approach that we have discussed. We have just discussed some of the approaches which can be used. So please try to explore those approaches. Okay, and also I think we insisted on this, right? Easiest way is just to remove those data. Please don't remove it. Okay, you can just impute them with any suitable value that you consider, okay, to do so. And the third one is giving some sort of an EDA, right? So here we can start using graphs as such. So this task requires you to perform an analysis on the data set generated during your feature engineering. Okay, so in this section, okay, you can just gather your ideas. Okay, it can be both along with defining your attributes as well. Right, hope you're having some clarity on this. So graphically examine the data characteristics and relationships, right? Provide some statistical analysis. Also evaluate based on the approaches undertaken to get familiar with the data set. Right. So in hypothesis, you can just start framing some questions based on your data set. Okay, so you can formulate a minimum of 5 hypotheses based on the data set regarding the clean data set or the transform data set. It could be any particular type of data set that you wanted to bring out your hypothesis. So this will require analytical variables, interpret the hypothesis with a query result from using the visualization using SAS. Okay, you can use both query and visualization using SAS. Okay. So please take note of the deliverables, right? The report with the structured. Sure, all of you are aware of the structure. The word count. Okay, so when we are talking about word count, this is just some sort of an idea that we wanted to provide. Okay, so that we know like what is the range that we wanted to put. So if in case we are talking about 150, 200 words, right? So there may be some doubt like maybe, okay, if in case I'm going to 300, okay, so that is fine. Okay, so which means like when you're talking about 200 words, like going with 300 words is okay, but don't go beyond that. Right? So which means like plus or minus is fine, but better not go minus, like, okay, and please don't double that. It makes more wordy, right? And it may tend to what we call as not really to the point. Okay, when you talk more really to the point, right? It can be more justification need to be provided in a way it not too wordy. That's what I wanted to bring it to our understanding. So in introduction, try to give a background information about your topic, right? Try to give the purpose of your report. Okay, so all these things is basically your understanding about your data set, right? So that is the reason why we are making it very clear that do have a clear idea about what data set you are trying to use in your assignment, right? So you also have a place here where you can give your justification on what type of method you're going to use, right? If in case, okay, you have already identified, you can just start discussing some small things here. So here this is going to be something around 500 to 800 words. In related words, works we are talking about something. It's not actually literature review, but it's something like what is your understanding about your data set, right? So carefully structure your findings. It may be useful to do a chronological format where you can discuss the earliest to the latest research, right? So this research, let it not go beyond 5 years, right? Paper. So now it is 2022, right? So maybe you can choose until like 17, 18, right? Okay, don't go below that, right? So 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. This could be your area of search, right? Where you can provide justification about your data set, okay, about what you're trying to do with your data set and all those things. Okay, how you're trying to go with any type of EDA, right? So place your research approach. Here once again try to give a very clear understanding about what you want to do. Okay. Alternatively, you can give a thematic way, right? Outlining the various themes that you are discovered in your research regarding the topic. So are we clear in this? Okay, we have some question here. Yes, Leo. So it's a very good question, right? That is a reason why we already have stated here. So regarding hypothesis, hypothesis is based on the data set, right? No doubt. Make it after cleaning, right? A clean data set or a transformed data set, right? So only then you'll be able to find out, okay, what you want to do. say about your hypothesis, right? What is your finding about the data initially before going into any type of an research, right? Yes, you can use the mic so that everybody can hear.
Okay, sorry, sir. For the related work, uh, sorry, actually, I not really understand. It's not like literature review, but so can you give more example on that? Or is similar like literature review?
Okay, the question is whether it is going to be something like literature review or is it going to be different, right? Okay, the reason why I said it is not real literature review but something like that, okay, because there may be a doubt. The doubt is most of the time when you look for research papers, they may not discuss mostly on the data set. They may discuss on models, right? Or they may go discuss with the accuracy of the model or the results of the model, right? Am I clear? So here, when we are mainly talking about the data set, and you're only trying to manage the data before going to the next stage of modeling. Okay, so finding literature review papers is not easy, right? At the same time, it's not a very big challenge. Okay, so parallelly, you can just find out, okay, from any particular textbooks or any particular type of an article that you come across, okay, saying supporting the data first, right? So we call that as a business domain. Okay, the reason mainly towards taking a particular data for our study, because that data is usually for any particular type of a business. It could be for health sector or finance sector or for educational sector. Right. So towards that particular area, how is this data set really being explored, being used, being analyzed as such? The justification towards you using that particular data set. So that is the reason why we put that as related works, right? If in case we put literature review, then it makes some doubt, right? So then they may say that I could not get any research papers on that. So I think now we are trying to get something related with what type of activity that you're trying to do around your data set. So even when you're going around picking the data set, you will really find out, right, many interesting things about your data. All right. Okay. So even from the open source, when you're downloading particular the data set, or maybe even if it's from your corporate, right, you will have some understanding about the data. So that is where we wanted you to give the details about, right? And also make sure that you can give those details if in case it's from a blog or from any letter. Yes, as citation, and then you provide the references. Okay, and these things, citation references, right? We usually follow APA style, right? The American, what we call as the American psychological. Okay, so maybe I can, and later I can just upload the format of APA. Okay, we usually have Harvard styling and all those things, right? So here we use APA style. Okay, so hope we are clear on that. Thank you. Thank you, Noor. Liu Shin, are we clear in that? Okay, so Liu Shin has also answered. Okay, understood. Thank you. Okay, Liu Shin, thank you. So because we had a discussion here, no issues. Thank you. From Ming, I think this before. So after analysis, we can determine reject or accept HO and H1 depending on your data. Yes, can. Okay, the reason why I was insisting on cleaning, sometimes it may have some more noises, right? Which you may think that it is better that you completely clean it before you want to do the analysis, right? So it is justification can be provided in the way you wanted to put it. Right. No issues. But the option that we are trying to give you is when you clean, you will have more clarity on your data. Right. I'm sure you are able to get that idea on it. Right. Meng, are you able to understand? Depending on the data, yes. So from Lucian, so if let's say my data set is about e-commerce, the research paper should be about the e-commerce domain. Yeah, the research papers is not about e-commerce domain. Yes, it's about e-commerce domain, mostly about your justification about your data set. Right. So once you go with the justification, it's only going to revolve around your domain e-commerce. You're not going to go away from that. Hope we are having some clarity on that. Because when we say e-commerce, once again, it can track us to many different phases, right? So when you're talking mainly about your data set, right? Your data set is collected from that e-commerce thing. So it's only based on that. Yes, thank you, Raymond. You're right. We start with part 2, right? And then go to part 1 because part 1 is mostly towards feature engineering, right? So we do all those things only after we are very clear with our data, right? We are doing those things and then we go to part 1 for feature engineering. And it's the same data set. We don't have 2 data sets, only 1 data set that we are going to use for this assignment. Thank you, Raymond. Any other doubts?
Sir,
Yes.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I have a data set for my last month support team, we have a ticketing system. So I apply for the last month result, how our team performs, maybe, but how I make the hypothesis, because we just looking for maybe personal performance for the last month, how they reply are they reply on time, or what are the topic that the client is submitting the ticket. I think this is all of the concern that we are facing, but can I find the hypothesis, or I just make a very simple, like we hope that our team, every members can reply their tickets in 3 days time. This is my hypothesis, but the result might not everyone can achieve this KPI.
Yes, can.
Yeah, because my hypothesis, actually, I just want to, based on my last month data, to justify my every team member's performance, and also what topic that are currently our facing most frequently submitted by our clients. Yeah. So this type of hypothesis, I can make a very, I can forecast that there will be someone will not achieve my hypothesis lah, like reply every ticket in 3 days time. I don't think everyone can achieve this one. Maybe there will some members that couldn't make it, or some ticket that is quite hard to achieve, to solve it in 3 days. Yeah.
Sure. So I think we discussed about how to do the hypothesis. Maybe today, once again, I will provide some more clarity on that hypothesis thing.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, sure. Yeah,
okay.
Thank you,
so,
sir.
Yeah, so we'll discuss once again another example. Okay. So from Sean Seng, can I use a dummy data set that I can find from the internet? Okay, so this dummy data set, what are we trying to say, like a dummy data set? Yes, Sean?
Hi, sir. Okay. Personally, for the data sets, right, I can't guarantee that I'm able to find a genuine actual data set from a company. But because because we actually did an assignment from, I think, from the last two subject, where we got a dummy data set to do our assignment. So I wonder if I can reuse that.
So what data set is it?
It's a data set regarding cycling company, bicycle manufacturing company.
Okay, which means that you have
It's a sales data actually. It's a sales data.
Yeah, so it's not dummy, right? It's actually having some real values. Right, you have some attributes, you have some good observations, right?
Yeah, so for the data set itself is actually quite comprehensive where because the company is actually a makeup company. It's a makeup company, so I believe that all the data inside are all makeup. But so it depends on what's our interpretation on the data set.
Okay, Samra has given some idea here. We also had given, I think, provided some list. Not provided here. Okay, no issues. Maybe I can just put some details over here. Hope all of them know about Kaggle, right? We have Kaggle, so I can also put some list of open sources where you can find. But whenever you try to put a data set, just try to see that you are able to get good number of observations. Like that is the reason why I put a minimum number of observations, like at least 4,000, right? And yes.
The observations has more than 40K.
Okay, so if it is more than 40K, then it will take quite a long time to upload in your SaaS and then start working with it.
Oh, see. Okay, sure. I'll see what I can do.
Right, because we are talking of working in the cloud, and initially it's fine, but when you start doing some sort of other transformations in it, it may take quite long time to do all the things. I think even at the time when you check, when we started to do some process like more than 10K in SaaS, it really takes long time just to load initially.
I see. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, John. So thank you, Samra. No, it once again depends on the different type of attributes. We're talking about if it's 40K and we are having nearly more than like 20-25 parameters, right? When it is heavy, it really takes a long time because we're talking of working in the cloud, right? It's mainly for academic purpose that we are using this. Right? Is it clear? Okay, justify. Okay, thank you. Okay, any other doubts? Any other clarifications? How are we going? So this is mainly to make sure that what is your progress. So usually what we do is we just ask everyone regarding the progress, but I'm sure all of you are very busy, but I just wanted to know, like, have you at least completed like 15-20% of your assignment? I think most of that is mainly documentation that we are talking about, right? And also it's initial coding, like what we discussed in our earlier parts, right? For IDA, data pre-processing also can be started now, could have been started. And some initial stages of hypothesis writings.
Sir.
Yes.
I have a question on the part 1 of the assignment 2, the
part
initial
1, right?
data process. The
part 2 we'll discuss.
part 2 assignment.
We'll go to part 1.
Sorry.
Sure.
Part 2 assignment, the initial data exploration.
Yes.
That one. Let's say I have my data file is in CSV and I look into the Excel, I actually can see that there are some grouping or clustering I can do. But looking at the initial data, that means we should supposed to upload the raw data and check for any missing value to the SAS first, right? That means we don't manually go and sort out first from the CSV file. Am I right that way?
you're actually having a CSV files, right? And then you're going to upload all the CSV files to Excel, is it? And then you're going to upload to SAS, is it?
Yeah. So
Because
my
in SAS,
question is, yeah.
Ah,
My question is because the question asked for under the part 2 initial data exploration that we need to use SAS to explore the data set, identify any outliner missing value and outliner treatment. So which means that I should not in this stage do any grouping or clustering first, right? If
okay,
the
you're talking about
data
part
need,
2, right?
yeah. Under the initial data exploration, I think further down, yeah. This one, just no, not this one. Still under the part, under the one. Yeah,
Okay,
use
okay.
SAS. The last sentence in part 1.
Yes.
Yeah.
Using SAS, explore your data set and identify the variables which has any outliers, missing values, and outlier treatment. What treatment you wanted to do? Okay.
Which means it's a raw data straight away. Even got missing value, we just use the SAS to explore first. All right. So I'm not
Yes.
doing any grouping or clustering first. It will be done under data pre-processing. Am I right that way?
Yes. All those things you just start doing in SAS. Don't do it before.
Okay, clear.
Yeah. Because only
Yeah.
then we have some clarity that we are able to explore, because all these things are recorded with how well students get their hands trained on SAS. Because we're not having different types of an assessment for full-time and part-time.
I don't need to tidy up my CSV data before I upload. So look like it's not the case lah. Yeah.
Yeah. So everything should be done in SAS.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. Hope all of you have clarity on that. Yes. Okay. So as part 1 and 2 to be combined in one assignment or in separate assignments? Yes, it is separate assignments. Okay, it is separate assignments. Okay, it will be uploaded as 2 different files in the Moodle. Right, as we have discussed, because we have it's covering 2 different LOCs, right? So you can see here in part 1, right, feature engineering is 15 and metadata is 5, which means it's totally 20%. And for part 2, which is the first part initially, right, which is you're going to do first, where abstract will have 5 marks, introduction is 5 marks, your related works, right? Something related with what is your justification about your data and all those things is 10 marks. And relatively the methods that you're going to use for missing data imputations, right? All those things will carry 10 marks. Please do provide correctness of identification of the attribute type, right? So you're going to use the NOIR, right? Nominal, ordinal, okay, interval and ratio. So please try to do those justifications and give the pre-processing procedures, results and explanation, right? So all those things just about how is your step of doing those things. And regarding the depth of data understanding, like how comprehensive are the explanations of your way of exploring those results, right? And appropriate way of providing your illustrations, right? The graphical way, like how before, right? We discussed about before and after steps and all those things. Okay. And with your how well you can query, right? The query and the feasibility of the result and the insight of a hypothesis, because we asked for 5 hypotheses, right? So whether you're going to give a very simple hypothesis and all those things will be covered under this 10 marks. Okay. So you can really understand that. Okay. So based on your justification, okay, we are trying to get those marks, whether it is from the average marks to the highest marks, right? Yes.
So can I ask you a question on this? We have two assignments, and these two assignments combined is equal to 80%. I mean, 80
Yes.
marks. Then the remaining 20 marks is our test, is it?
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Akbar. Okay, so for imputing the missing character data, okay, is regarding the particular data, right? You can just use a null value like NA or null, okay, or maybe if in case it is going to be what type of mode you're going to use. You can use mode, right, for going with imputing for character data. Right? Like how you use mean for values, you can go with mode for these things. You just find the mode and then you can just fill it up with those values. Is it clear, Praveen? It's once again based on your way of justifying that particular. Yeah, so if in case you are going to use that particular attribute for regression, yeah, we'll have to look on that particular thing. That's the reason why I said whether you wanted to use what particular type of an imputation method. Right, whether you want to go with the null or whether you want to go with a mode, right? Or whether you want to go with the more frequent values. Clear, Praveen?
Hi, sir.
Hi.
Out of topic for a while because the timetable that is given to us has no any date specified for our test. Is it our test will be fall under one of our lecture class or tutorial class?
Yeah, if it is going to fall, yeah. So please just for now you can just take assure it will be on the last day of your lecture class. If in case we want to put it in lecture class, right? I'm just still discussing whether we can put it during the examination day, but still I'm not giving you this assurance whether you can put it on exam day. For now, we can just make it on the last day of your lecture class.
So tentatively 10th of August lah.
Sorry.
So tentatively will be fall under 10th of August.
So it is. I'm just checking your timetable. Just give me a second. Yes, 10th of August. Okay. Or if in case we can just say that we can have it on examination schedule, usually like with other class, we can also go with that. But for now, just take sure that it is mostly on tentatively on 10th of August. Okay, thank you for that. So we have some questions here. Okay, so Praveen, are we clear on that? So before going to next one.
Okay, sir, got it, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Praveen. So from Ming, Sorry, they're not able to join. Okay, so maybe this is regarding the attendance. We got some things here. So is this a question to be answered or? Okay, the progress, right? Okay. Or if anybody having any doubts on this, we can discuss. It's really good detail that we have here. Fine.
So can you give an example on this data variable transformation and variable creations under part 1, which is a feature engineering part? Do you have any example what is variable transformation and what is a variable creation?
Sure, we'll discuss that.
Thank you, sir.
Mhm. Sorry, come again. Okay, so any doubts in the part 2 before going to part 1? So later, I just want everybody to give your, maybe you can just prepare, okay? And we'll just have some small time, maybe like 15-20 minutes, like after a small break. Okay, so I want everyone to just list out what are your updates, okay, how much you're completed and all those things. Okay, just as a formal way, like because if in case I'm going to open the mic for everyone, it'll take very long time, right? So what you can do is you can just put a very small description about what is your completion now. Okay, what are the things you're listed out, okay, for completion, and you can just say like what is your progress, okay, and you can just put in the chat. Because this is one of the things that we usually do during this assignment clinic, right? Is it okay with everyone?
Hi, sir.
Hi, Lee.
I think
Yes.
before I proceed, I think I asked this question before. What's the, because you were saying that you will need to at least, maybe you answer this. I apologize in advance first if you did. Because you said that the minimum row of records we need to have for our data set is actually 5K, around that, right? So since we are doing it in cloud, so if my data set really that is around 20K, will the SaaS Studio able to handle?
Yeah, that is the reason why I'm telling you. Okay, you can test it out. Because it's once again, sometimes what happens, some of the things are very light. Okay, light in the sense it's mostly numbers. Okay, very small numbers. Okay, attributes that they have. Even though there are 10K of values, okay, in the real value inside all the attributes are very less. Hope I'm giving you some clarity on that. So if that is the case, then it doesn't have much load on the processing of the particular data set. But if in case we have a big number of values as such, maybe in some cases have addresses, okay, some cases have more of characters, okay, in attributes. Those cases do take a lot of time. That's the reason why we said that it is fine if in case you have something like 5K observations and 14 variables or attributes as such. Is it clearly?
Yes, yes, it is. Yes, yes, it is. So my
Ah.
next question will be
I can just show you one particular way, okay, what I'm trying to justify here. Okay, so we
yeah,
have
I
one.
understand. It means that is difference between like character and string and number, because number in a big data set itself is actually can be easier for processing, but for string, of course, there will be more bits and byte here and there, so makes the data set a bit larger. So brings my next question is actually, let's say for example, like let's say I'm taking the sales data set for the, let's say like supermarket for per day, right? So maybe per day itself, the data set already have around 20K of sales record. Does this data set necessary to be having across time span of at least a week, or maybe a day that has 20K will suffice the requirement?
Okay, fine. Okay, if in case you are really able to provide some good justification on that particular data, whether you are able, that's the reason why we put this question like hypothesis, like what are the hypotheses that you're going to produce from that particular data?
Okay, means that as long as I can justify on the background or whichever that I'm using on the data set, there won't be any limitation as long as it's a minimum of 5K and minimum of 11 to 12 variables. Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Thank you, Lee.
So regarding the data set, actually I'm not able to use my company data set. So I'm using a data set from Kindle. I'm not sure how genuine is the data set. Is it okay to use the data set?
Yeah, it's okay. We can use the open source, no issues.
Thank you, sir.
Because even other day someone asking like whether we can use the data set from our SaaS, right? The reason why sometimes it may seem to be relevant. Okay, just check out whether it is really feasible enough, whether you are able to get all those things justification that you can make with your assignment. Then it's okay, no issues, because even that is open source, right? Okay, just take note of what are the justifications you can provide, whether you can go with all those things, then fine, no issues.
Is there any requirement on the time? I mean, like if the data set is too old, like maybe 10 years ago, or is there any issue, or have to test the latest data just for this test? Just a data is not an issue.
Yeah, that is the reason why we also had this related works to be done. Okay, that is because we try to put all those questions right in our assignment. Okay, I can once again point it over here. Let me check that one. Yes. To the latest research. Right. So if it is very old data, I'm sure that we will not have latest research on that, right? So that's the reason why we try to not go for a very old data set or something. Because the latest data set, we'll have more things to discuss, like how well it is being used around. All the justifications can be well provided. Is it okay?
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Okay. I wanted to go with that, no issues. Okay, from blue. Yes, Lakshan, you can, right? You can extend the length of the data. So are you using text file to have converted text file to data file, or how is it? Oh, yeah. Okay, so already that's answered here. Okay. How about any new data you can collect? Then it's more fine. But if in case it's irrelevant, okay, for the current problem, then it's fine. Don't go for very old data. Okay. So others are also preparing their yeah, fine. Thank you, option. So hope everybody is preparing your short brief about what you have done so far and what is your progress. As far as so 30 years historical data, okay, is it relevant today? If in case you want to discuss about the relevancy of those data today, is it really applicable, those data relevancy?
Okay, sir. Okay, so let's say my data is about tennis matches. Okay, so what I want to do is the tennis matches are usually played on different surfaces. Let's say hard court, clay court, and grass courts. So I just want to find some kind of pattern within the data. Is it appropriate, sir? Because I think until today they're still playing tennis in these surfaces as well. So I'm just asking for your advice, sir.
Yeah, fine. That is fine. No issues. Okay, but once again, just to check whether you are having you can be able to provide all the activities that is there for the assignment. Right, whether there are some data missing and then whether you're able to impute them, right? Whether you can be able to provide all the other things, right? Okay.
Okay, so understood. Okay, so let's say just now I said there is some missing character data, right? Okay, so let's say the missing character data involves the surfaces. For some of the data set, they don't have the information on the surfaces. So I'm guessing I'm going to impute with the, let's say if grass court is the most played surface, I just go with grass court as my primary imputation, right?
Okay. I really cannot blindly say okay because I have not seen the data set. Okay, so it is something like that.
I think I understand, sir. I think I understand. Thank you, sir.
Yes, Basie. No issues, we can discuss. Okay, so this on is actually based on customer churn prediction, right? So I think all of you are very clear on this particular thing. So this is going to be on customer churn prediction in the sense the data set is going to be mostly on that particular aspect. So what are we trying to discuss here? Okay, so to have a clarity on what to put in the introduction. So this is once again an e-commerce problem. Okay, so you're just trying to enlighten, right, how that particular data set based on the domain, right, gives us some clarity towards the business. Okay, and also gives us some sort of an understanding on the relevancy of that data to any data scientist. Okay, so you're trying to bring out the essence of the data set. So here we are trying to say that, okay, the customer churn can be predicted with the data set. So here you're talking about the customer churn. Okay, Basie, are you able to understand? Okay, initially, so we'll just go through no issues. Okay, fine. So here they have given the particular citation as 2007. So it is fine, but there will be a comment raised saying that some citations are being very old. Okay, but if in case we see that, okay, these things, don't worry, you're not going to be penalized, but just to get into understanding, go with the latest citations and references. Right. So the term customer, yes.
So based on the samples, they have put the dependent variable, right? If I'm not mistaken, the sample that you show, the sample assignment.
Yeah.
Is it compulsory to have the dependent variables? Or it depends on what the domain that we do. Inside our assignment.
Okay. So are we getting the question now, all of you? Is the question clear? Others? So the question is whether we are, can try to form your relationship based on your variables. Can use that as your hypothesis testing. Okay, we are talking, yes, fine. Okay, but our question is all about when trying to discuss about the related works, okay, are we trying to discuss only the business domain, right? Or anything related with the data as such? Is that the question? The attributes of the data.
Actually, I'm referring to the sample because the one that you show us, the student did do the dependent variables. And
It's only domain, business domain. That's what you're saying, right?
and no, if, for example, if we are doing different domain, we still need to do the dependent variable. I mean, we still have to come up with the dependent variable. It's actually based on the previous assignment, the one that you showed us.
Is it this one or the last
Yes,
week?
yes,
This one.
Yeah. Okay, so according to have to have both independent and dependent variables. What if I have only independent variables?
Sabrina, I think you need to look at your data set. For example, do you have any age, male, and then the other one could be the income or salary. That actually you can try to form some sort of correlation and then use that to test whether this relationship is strong or not. In your hypothesis, I mean, yeah, that's why I try to explain.
Okay, because based on the example, the student did have this one column scoring. Okay, so the issue now, I don't have the some sort of variable. I mean the scoring variable. So so I'm not sure how to come up with the dependent variable, you know.
Do your data set have any gender, age,
Okay, my
religion?
plan is to come up with this one data set. It's actually a real job. It's what I'm doing right now at my organization lah. Okay, so my plan is to identify whether the customer will opt for this product or not. I mean, based from product A, but whether they will opt for product B or not. So
Actually,
similar
you can
like
form
the
the
sample.
relationship. Your customer should have gender, right? Male, female, and
Yes,
then use that
correct.
gender to versus your product. Which gender prefer this product and something like that. Actually, you have
Also,
independent and dependent variables.
so gender will be the dependent, is it?
Gender will be your independent variable, and then your product will be your dependent variable. It depends how you form the relationship only.
Or product will be dependent. Sorry, product will be
Dependent. For example,
lost.
I'm a male.
Dependent.
I'm a male, so I won't go and buy something that is not I require. For if I'm a female, I will buy cosmetic product. For male, I won't go for buy this kind of cosmetic product. So something like that. So gender is your independent. Yeah, something like that.
Gender. Oh, okay, noted. So not necessary to have like scoring and all that, right?
Yes, it depends how you form your
Okay.
relationship. Yes, thank you.
Okay,
Sabrina.
right. Okay, noted. Okay, thank you so much, Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Praveen is buying a drink.
Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, sir. As I understand that the data set is pretty important because the data set we choose is pretty important because maybe I'm not sure that the data I choice is okay for me to do all the job you request on my assignment. So is it possible that I can share with you my my data set which I will work on? So you can, as your experience, you can say that is my data set is okay or not for working.
Okay, so you just wanted to know whether you can just to get clarity on a data set, whether you can go with using the data set for your assignment, is it?
Yes, because I have no experience and I'm not sure that it's okay or not. And I'm not sure that is there any independent variable or dependent, and is the relationship is strong enough, So
Okay, there's another question here from my side. Okay, so because now you're not going to build any model, right? Okay, so why this question about dependent and independent arising now? Because we are just discussing about this particular question called introduction. Okay, where you are going to discuss about writing your data set, about your details about data set. Okay, so do we really need to have an understanding about this independent and dependent variables for writing this particular introduction? Is my question clear? So that is where I really got lost when the discussion was going on.
No, sir, because I think it has something to do with the hypothesis later, right? Because like we need to come up with hypothesis.
Okay,
Like
for hypothesis, yes. Okay, but when we're discussing about this, I was only focusing on this particular thing. Okay, how we are going to discuss about your data set. Okay, and the business domain of your data set. Okay, so because I was only thinking about introduction and the related works, I didn't go with hypothesis. Okay, am I right? So I think that is where I was lost. Okay, thank you. Anyway, Ang Pao is getting a drink. Happy about that. Thank you, Praveen. Okay, thank you. Okay. So are you clear now?
yeah, yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you. Really good discussion. Very good. Yeah. So that is where our confusion. No issues. Fine. Anyway, if the discussion is fruitful, then it's fine. Because I think we are trying to answer Bayes' question. Okay, that is why I was a little. Okay. Okay, fine. So this one is okay. When you're talking about 2017, right? 2018, 19. So here you can see like the reason towards giving some literature reviews on the data pre-processing part of the model building and how those things are. So here it is more towards theory part. Okay, instead of that, you can just concentrate on your data, small, like how you're trying to do with that. All those things is fine, right? Anyway, these things also a good discussion about just to know that you are also having some sort of focus on those things. So here, once again, you can see that they started discussing about the customer behavior, customer transaction history, which is once again towards understanding of the data set, right? Are we clear on that? Good. Okay. Okay, so it's already 20 now. Okay, so we can have some more inputs from your side. Okay, what is your completion? Okay, so you can have a break for another 20 minutes, no issues. Okay, and then before that, if in case you already have filed, okay, your updates, we can please update it. Okay. So, and later we can just discuss about the part 1, feature engineering. Okay. We may not go deep into the discussion of the code. If in case, we'll just discuss about what we'll be doing in part 1. All right. Okay. Not to get too serious about it. Am I clear? Is it okay now? For now, I just want to make sure that everybody is getting your insight about what is you're doing, all those things. Okay, thank you. Fine. So it's 8:20. We can start at 8:40. All right, is it okay now? We'll have a small break, right? Okay, thank you. Okay, welcome back. We have some good information here. Wow. Auction. Yes, I'm sure many of them are giving some good discussions here, good details. Thank you. I also encourage others to follow suit. The reason why we put in words, so we can also get the more motivation that we need to progress more. And also you can start with the other documentation procedures, right? So that it doesn't take more time. So when you already started, and it already will progress, right? It only takes time to get started. Once it's started, you can just start progressing. Okay, so I think for now all the records are good, fine. Yes, Kenji Lim, it's right. 100K Shash will crash. Okay, so 20K is fine. Nur Farah, okay, good, fine. So before progressing, we'll go to attendance, or attendance will not let us in. Please mark your attendance. The Martin is not here. Kavan Wan Singh.
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Okay. You. Trisha Patel. You can see the names here, but not sure why they are not answering. Maybe. Okay. So others, please mark your attendance. Part time. Aisat bin Amran. Aisat bin Amran. Okay. Thank you. Crystal is not here. Can't see Crystal's name here. Okay, Aisat, we have mapped to attendance. Thank you. Kong Hao Meng. Kong Hao Meng is not here. Okay. NGB. NGB Chen. NGB Chen is not here. Okay. What do you please mark your attendance? Okay. Two parts. Thank you. Cordial, please mark your attendance. All present. Okay. Noted Samra from No Sabrina dataset. Too heavy. Okay. SAS is okay with that? Yes.
Because it's actually implementing what I'm doing right now. So I really hope if let's say the things turn out to be what I expect.
Because you have started early, then no issues. If in case you see it difficult, then you can just cut short small. Good. That's good. Fine. Very good. Thank you. No Sabrina. Yeah. How merchant. Okay. Okay. Observations of protect sounds initiated. Okay. Hope everybody is doing the documentation also, right? Side by side. Okay. Sure. Progress happening on customer support. Okay. Very good. Very current. Sync data form. Very good. Yes, SAS function.
Hi, sir. Yeah.
Yes, Chai.
Yes. I just wondering, do the SAS have the functions that help me to get the time taken from the start date and the end date,
Yes.
how long the time taken to be completed?
SAS do support that. Yes.
Okay, then I will survey on the internet. Thanks.
Chai. So, data set credit score. PKOs into December. Okay, that's fine. Okay, still some expectation from some more class members, right? We'll wait for them. Yes, Crystal is here. Very good. Yes, Crystal. Progress report. Yeah, I can see progress report, but I cannot see the progress. Date attendance for Crystal. NG noted. Very good. Thank you. So can we have a small discussion on the part one? Right. I'm sure all of you are aware of it. Just to have some more discussion. Okay. Crystals update to data set and process shop more with 5 categorical variables, 5 categorical variables, 12 variables, 12 variables. 5 plus 5 is 10. Okay. What are the 12 variables? Okay. How many observations, Crystal? So what is your progress? Have you started documentation? Have you imported to SAS? Import to SAS has been done. Any other initial? Okay, finished. Very good. Thank you. Okay. So others, please follow suit. Okay, just try to provide your insight. Just to make sure that all of them have recorded their progress and updates. Okay, so this is about feature engineering. Okay, so this is just to give some sample ideas. Okay, so I'm not asking you to only follow this particular type of functions that you wanted to use. Okay, so just these are samples. Okay, we always ask. These are something like not extraordinary submissions. Okay, we're just trying to give some ideas. Always we are importing more functionalities to our added values. Okay. So you just start with the discussion on feature engineering. What is it you are trying to provide? Okay, from your side. So this is once again related to customer churn prediction. So you're going with the feature engineering for this type of data. Okay, so pre-processed data has been done, cleaned, imputed, right, and smoothened. So for smoothing, you can go with any type of technique that we have discussed. Maybe you can also use binning as well. Way. So feature engineering, okay, converting raw data into useful features. This is mainly done to improve machine learning model performance, right? Okay. So if in case this question is asked, like, what are the different feature engineering techniques you wanted to use, right? What will be your general suggestions? Perspective of your data. Okay. Yes, class. Are we clear with the question? Is my question clear? Okay, fine. Feature engineering techniques. Right. So I'm just asking, like, what are the techniques that we can use for feature engineering? Okay, fine. Thank you on winning, clustering, grouping. Okay, anything else? Any more ideas? Okay, Raymond. Feature creation, good. How about standardization? When do we go with standardization? Can standardization be under this category? Talk about normalization, right? And standardization. Can we have these techniques for feature engineering? Can. Okay, good. Right. Fine. Okay. So rather we'll go with another more discussion, right? With more clarity here, instead of just giving a very few idea. Okay. So here we are talking about the contents. Feature and techniques has label encoding. Okay. So you can really see this data is all from medical domain. Okay. So some label encoding for some resting blood pressure, from serum cholesterol levels. Okay. All peak levels and all those things, discrete data types. And on hot code encoding, right? On hot encoding for giving details on gender, chest pain, fasting blood sugar. Okay, so these are some attributes which they're just trying to bring out. Okay, for using these type of techniques. Okay, so this is just to give us an idea about things that you want to do. Okay, maybe log transformations like square root transformation. Okay, and these are not limited. Once again, I'm telling you, these are not limited. Okay, this is just to give us a clarity on what are the things we can go with in table of content. So some of them have doubts. Okay, so what I'm going to do, what will be my content, table of content look like? Okay, so these things we can put it in a table of content. Just try to give proper numbering, all those things. Okay, and as such, right, we need to have metadata. Right, so please add your metadata. And then give a conclusion on all the things about references. In appendix, you can just include the source code as such in case you wanted to give source code. Okay. Write a small introduction. Always have an introduction. If any document in academics, it is appreciated. Always you have an introduction. Always give a conclusion, right? And when you're discussing as sort of a report, okay, it's appropriate that you give citations and references. Okay, please take note of these things. You may wonder, because introduction doesn't, we are not given any marks for introduction or conclusion. Okay, but these things are to be included. Give a short note on feature engineering technique as such, because we're going to discuss on that, and all the things that you wanted to put as a feature engineering technique. So here they are started with some common techniques like imputing, handling outliers, discretion, log transforms, hot encoding, grouping operations, feature splitting, okay, scaling, extracting, all those things, right? I think you already explored these things, right? So go with your techniques, okay, discuss them, provide some citations. The reason why I'm insisting these things sometimes, right? We get documents very plain. Okay, they just put heading, put some sample codes, and just give small discussion, and then that's it, right? So that really doesn't give some sort of an academic report. Okay, for academic report, all these things are really sought out. Okay, just to make it more clearer, right? Please make sure that you put proper numbering for your chapter headings as well, and as well as for each and every detail. give the code, okay, the output, right? And the reason why you wanted to go with this type of a technique. Fine. This is once again what they are trying to do for each and every attribute. Okay. So for one hot encoding, I'm sure all of you are aware of what is one hot encoding, right? So just to give an understanding, one hot encoding is mainly to introduce, right? As the name suggests, one, right? It's a 1-bit one. It's hot. Reason why you can put any number of what we call as justification, okay, on that particular variable. So it is 1 bit and it is you're trying to put 1 or any particular time and other bit is 0. So one encoding is similar to label encoding but more efficient as it can provide ranking to the variables. Right? So give justification why you want to go with the one hot encoding or label encoding as such. So there may be a question, right? Already we have gender as 1 and 0. Why we need to make it separate as a gender female and gender male? Right. So these are highly helpful when you go for modeling. Right. Please take note of it. Right. These are very much useful when we go for modeling. Similarly, chest pain categories. Okay. We are trying to put them under this type of category. So once again, depends on what type of variable you want to put under on hot. Etc. Just try to classify them. So you can see like the chest pain categorized like 1, 2, 3, 4 based on the ranking. So here you put them as 1 or 0. Okay. And these are highly helpful when you go with neural networks like CNNs or such categories. Right. Fine. So next about another variable fasting blood sugar. Okay. Similarly, testing electrocardiogram result. So just try to bring your understanding, okay, for that attribute whether it's really needed to go with this type of a thing. Log transforms. So this is a common data transformation technique which will apply natural log to the numerical data. I think we did discuss regarding these things, right? Like why we are trying to apply logs. This is also a form of normalization, right? We can do that, no issues. So for age, 12 age is the age of parents. Okay, here it is age of patients. So this is the sample code of log transformation for age. Distribution of age, distribution of log age. Hope you're getting some clarity here, right? What we're trying to do. Let's check any questions. Yes, we have some question here. Should we do feature engineering first so we can perform hypothesis much easier? Yes. The reason why I think we discussed in the first class regarding go with part 2 first, right? So that you are able to give some activities like finish off abstract introduction networks, missing data in data imputations. When you go with the hypothesis, maybe you can come back to part 1 and then go with hypothesis, right? But all others you need to finish so that you have clarity on your data. Okay, Sandra, are you able to understand? Okay. So regarding part 1, are we clear with what we wanted to do for future engineering?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. So once again, be noted. What we discussed here is only some functionalities. Okay, based on your data, you can provide your discussion on your functionalities, right? So this is just a sample, right? Just to make sure that we are clear with what we wanted to do. Okay. So just give your justifications. Just want to go with metadata. So metadata, okay, you can once again, it's not restricted only with SAS. Okay, you can go with any particular tool, okay, which gives more clarity about your metadata. So that I think you're all aware that we have some tools available, right, to give more clarity about your metadata. Yes, you can use it, no issues. You can just screenshot them and provide more discussions about your metadata. Okay, give some more clarity on metadata. Provide some discussions. Okay, and give a summary. Fine. Any doubts so far? Are we clear? Was clear. What about others? Any doubts we can discuss now? If everybody's fine, everybody has given your inputs, then no issues. We can log off, sign off. Yes. Okay, so we are using the same data set. Use the same. Yeah, putting it here in words. Sometimes we have doubt. The same data set. On and part 2. Yes. Thank you, Noor Sabrina. Right. So I think this question was already asked. No issues. We always get more clarity when we have more doubts. Okay, Ang is fine, Sabra is fine, no Sabrina is fine. Part 1 assignment submission is on August 22nd. Yes, August 22nd. No doubts. Right? Between 8:30 a.m. to 7 p.m. online model. But it can be done before also, no issues. I will upload it in the model. Maybe next class or other class, I can just show you like how in the model we are trying to do that. Yes, Noor Farah, thank you for giving us the date, reminding everybody about the date. Yes, Raymond, that's what I was trying to tell you. Okay, it's once again depending upon what your functionality, what is your justification about your creation of new variables. There are many things that we can do with feature engineering. That one is creating new variables. Yes, right. Just try to give your own justification about why you want to do that. Is it clear, Raymond? Because initial the one sample I wanted to show is very minimum, so that's the reason why I shifted to another sample. And I once again insisting that whatever sample we are discussing is just sample, right? It's not just a guide that we are going to follow. It's not a template. It's a sample in the sense It's just to show us some sort of methodology, right? How we are progressing, right? We do have more scopes on adding functionalities based upon your data set. Thank you, Raymond. Thank you, Nosfara. Yes. Okay. So Angpao is trying to give more clarity. So this is fine. So when you're having a hot code, okay, but we can also create new variables like how we discussed in the last class, right? So when you're having some total, right, or when you're just having some product and price, maybe you can have a new column called amount, right, where you multiply both these two variables and have a new variable. That's also possible, no issues, right? So anyway, you can create feature, right, based upon the justification that you're trying to provide and the necessity of that particular variable. Thank you, Angpao. Okay, how about others? Everybody's fine with that?
Sir, part 1 and part 2 submit on the 22nd of August, right?
Yes, no doubts, please. Both on the same day.
Thank
Or
you.
before that also can.
Noted, thank you.
Because the reason why we are saying before, it's all the reports goes through plagiarism check, right? So when you are talking about plagiarism check, okay, if in case you, even if you're going to take some notes or discussions or from codes, if it's just a code, you can just put it within code, but codes usually limit to 1 or 2. Don't go more than that. Others, please paraphrase well. Please paraphrase well. Yes, Chan, agree. Right, we need to have some self-study, right? That is always part of academics. Yes, right. Thank you. Yes, class, others, is everybody fine with our progress? Hope everybody's having very clear understanding what you want to do in your assignment. Hope assignment is not troubling you too much. You will have very clear progress, right? You want to do, and also you can have more of your ideas put into your data set to make it more interesting. Yes, class. Anybody having any other doubts? Is everything okay then? Okay, thank you, Ang. Okay, if everything is fine, thank you, class. Good day. Good night. Be safe. Thank you, Sabrina. Thank you, Ang. Thank you, Praveen. I have doubts how to reach via consultation. Okay, doubts in the sense if in activities, yes. Okay, you can put in Teams, but please don't put any codes and just ask, I'm having a difficulty in codes, help me out. If it is pertaining to your assignment, okay, we don't really encourage that, right? Because it's something like prompting you getting the answers, right? So we don't encourage that. But apart from that, any doubts in assignment or any doubts regarding the activity as such, okay, not towards the personal assignment, please, okay, we always help you out. Right. Hope you're having some understanding of this, right?
So how about send you the first draft first? Are you entertain the first draft?
Oh, okay, you are asking us whether we go through the first draft before submitting, is it? No, there's nothing like that. Okay, we have a sample. We know what is how to do the sample, right? How to get our report done, right? So once you have completed, yes, what you submit is the final. because we have some academic policies here. We don't encourage draft submission and then checking it out and then. Okay, thank you, Praveen. Please, you can whatever activities that you are having doubts right now, maybe in lecture. Okay, no issues. We can put it in the chat. We are ready to help. The thing, what happens? The thing is sometimes the student they just take their assignment problem, right? Put it in the chat. They ask for the solution, and what happens is it's deemed as an academic malpractice because the lecturer trying to give solutions. So that happens many times. So that is the reason why academic policies have been made. Okay, not to help bringing the assignment solutions. Okay, to the thing. Hope we are having clarity on that. Right. Apart from that, any doubts in the assignment, any doubts in the activities, right? Please make sure that we are always here to solve it out, right? Make it very clear for us. Thank you everyone for a good understanding. Thank you everyone for joining us. Today's class is very much insightful because all of you have given very good progress, right? I still didn't get some progress from some of your members. I can very well note because that's what we do. Okay, we take note of everything. Please, after later, you can also update. No issues. Are you sharing the sample we are discussing? Sharing in the sense, I'm not putting anything in the Teams. Okay, everything is a recording. Please watch the recordings. Okay, samples we don't upload. Okay. I think we are clear with the template, right? What we want to do, how it should be done, right? Any doubt? The assignment template, table of content. Okay, please, I can help you out. Okay, these are things we need to. That is the reason why we also have our marking scheme, right? The marking scheme gives us an idea about the concentration of marks that goes to the particular content as such. Okay, so but please take note, for any particular report that you submit for academics, it always should have a very good introduction, right? A conclusion. Before that, make sure that you have a cover page and the table of contents, right? Hope you are having good clarity on that.
Sir.
Yes, sure.
So assignment part 1, that means no need introduction again. Is it? Based on the marking system?
No, that's what I'm saying. For any report, please provide an introduction, please provide a conclusion.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. I'm not saying just for my assignment lab, I'm just saying for any academic report, okay, please have this as an, what we call as an academic good practice or a good academic practice. Okay. Kalib, are you okay with that? Kalib here, yes. Right. The reason why we're not uploading the sample, okay, for what we call as content, content 6. Okay. Sometimes we may say that, okay, this is what is the sample, and then I just want to go to the sample. Sample is just a sample. Okay. So we always want to improve the functionalities. It's not just about the sample. So that's the reason why I said that is just an average or an above average sample, but that is not an excellent sample. Okay. The excellent sample is all about how we want to provide your own functionalities and your justifications. That is what is expected. Okay, thank you, class. I'm sure all of you are fine with this. Okay, I'm stopping the recording now. Good day. Thank you.